gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to another edition of that Friday Eve show. We got a little something special today. Last night we did a recap of all the guests from In the Passenger Seat. Today we got another guest blessing us, Coach Powell. We're going to talk to him in a little bit, but you know, it's Friday Eve, and when people go to work tomorrow, they're going to be standing around the office space. They're going to be in the little break room. They're going to eat the day-old donuts. They're going to be at the microwave, and they're going to be talking about this show they saw the night before on this Friday Eve. They call it the Thursday Night Throwdown. Yeah, baby. And with that being said, I'm going to get you started with my man, gentleman Jack Carr. He's going to take this over, and we're going to ride with him for 40 minutes or 50 minutes talking to Coach, give you the passenger seat format on a Thursday night, and then we're going to get into some of the updates from the NCAA basketball. Jack Carr, take it away.
All right. Thank you, Midnight Rider. Thank you. Tonight, we're going to do a extended In the Passenger Seat. As everybody knows that tuned in last night, we had a cancellation, a late cancellation due to unexpected circumstances. So we went ahead with a best of last night. But tonight, we're going to take you on a ride throughout the sports world, one interview at a time like we always do. Tonight, I got with us Coach Devonne Powell. I'd like to welcome Coach Powell to In the Passenger Seat. Coach Powell, how you doing today, sir?
I'm good, fellas. How's it going? I appreciate you having me on tonight.
All right. So, fill me in. You are a coach at Laurel High School?
Yes, sir. I'm the head varsity football coach at Laurel. I'm going into my second season as the head coach. I was the head JV coach for 8 seasons. I'm also the assistant varsity basketball coach and head JV basketball coach.
Okay.
Man of many hats.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely. This might catch you a little bit off guard, but do the best you can with it. I'm not expecting, the greatest answer in the world, but just give me what you got. We like to start our show off by asking our guests, give me an early sports memory you might have. I know most of our guests have a couple days to think on this, but I'm going to hit you on the fly, Coach. Give me a young, early sports moment that made you become the sports guy you are.
Oh, man, you know what? I'm a diehard Redskins fan, and I do say Redskins. I ain't say Commanders. I say Redskins. Diehard Redskins fans, man. So one of my, I played football starting back in 1985. And I went to see the Redskins at RFK, greatest stadium ever. Went to go see them play the Raiders back then. And at that point, man, I was a young boy at that time. And I just knew if I couldn't play football professionally, I was going to be a coach because I just loved the game that much. So that's my throwback moment of what came and got me into playing sports. And
85.
Yeah.
Is that? Hold on. Because I think this may have been one of my first games. Is that the one that ended 37-34 with Joe Washington catching the pass in the back of the end zone?
Yep.
Yeah. All right. I was there.
Yeah. Check it out. I don't know.
That was my very first game at RFK.
That was mine too.
Yep.
Yep. That was my first game too. My uncle took me, and he was a diehard Raiders fan. So
I was a junior in high school then. So give me a I had a problem with the C word too for a while, but I've come around being a sports media guy.
Gotcha.
It's the Commanders, man. But I'm Redskin, as you can see behind me.
Right.
Well, who's your favorite Redskin?
Ooh, that's a tough one there.
I know.
I have to go back. Darryl Green, Art Monk, B. Mitch, Dexter Manley. I'm old school, so I love them guys, man. Doug Williams.
Okay.
Them 90s teams, man. They were the best, man.
What about your favorite commander?
Favorite commander? Oh, got to go JD5. I can't, that boy, he showed us he's the truth this year, man. Love him. I love Deron Payne. You know, I know he get a little slack sometimes, but I love his game. So, you know, those are my two favorites right now.
So, you said you've been playing since '85. Where did you play at? Where did you grow up at?
So I grew up in Laurel. So I started out in the Laurel Boys and Girls Club. Played all the way till I went through high school. Got to high school, went to Laurel High School, played there. So I've been around the game for a long time.
Okay.
Long time.
So when we get to Laurel High School, like come see a game, your name's gonna be on the wall with a plaque or something.
I don't know if it's gonna be on the wall with a plaque, but you go in there, everybody know who I am. And look, and you gonna see me there, and you probably gonna see my wife there because she's the cheerleading coach. So.
Oh, that's cool, man.
Yep. So you're gonna see one of us in the building.
So you stayed Laurel. Where'd you go to college, if you don't mind us asking?
No, don't mind you asking at all. I went my first 2 years. I went to Bowie State. Didn't play and then dropped out. So I didn't finish my degree till a couple of years ago.
Congratulations.
Yep, appreciate it. But I went to Bowie State for 2 years, and then life hit. I had to grow up and handle responsibilities.
That's what's up, man. So outside of the Redskins, what other do you follow? All local teams, or you have other teams that you pick out that you follow?
I'm not gonna say I follow all local teams, but I'm a Redskins fan. I'm a Nats and Orioles fan. I grew up an Orioles fan. That's all we had back then. But when the Nats came, I went towards the Nats, but still, watched the Orioles a lot. I'm a Capitals fan in hockey, and I'm a diehard Blue Devils fan in basketball, college basketball.
My man!
Yes, indeed.
My man!
Yes, indeed.
We're going to get this shit.
Six-time national champs on the way.
Oh, okay. You got an NBA team, coach?
I hate to say it. I'm a Wizards fan, but,
okay.
I watch more college than the NBA game, man. I'm kind of frustrated with the NBA game right now.
So, all right, let me follow up with that real quick. Mm-hmm. Since you coach basketball, we're gonna be a little bit all over the place today. What do you like about the college game more than the pro game?
In the college game, the kids play with a purpose, man. They trying to earn something. They play with heart, passion. They coachable. The NBA is a player-led league, man. The coaches are just figureheads. You got crybaby LeBron. Yeah, I said it. And it's just, you got guys with this load management, taking off games, and, you got fans paying their money to go see the stars play, and, you get there and they done sat out a game. Joe Embiid, he sits out all these games at the beginning of the season, then winds up getting hurt and missing the rest of the year anyway. So it's like, the passion is not there. I mean, hey, get your money. I ain't mad about that part. We're all trying to get our money, but, the love for the game is not there like the college game.
I agree, Coach. I feel me and my father have always said the college boys play for the name on the front of the jersey, not the name on the back.
Name on the back. Yep, I agree.
But with this whole NIL thing blowing up the way it is, how you feel about that, Coach?
Well, the NCAA does what they do. They mess up everything. They didn't rein it in and they should have been paying the players a while ago.
Right.
They should have been getting some of that benefit a while ago. I mean, these schools are making millions. And matter of fact, when I was even in college at Bowie State, I wrote a paper on players getting paid back in 98, 99. But the NCAA, of course, can't regulate anything the correct way. And so now it's gotten out of control. Me being a high school coach and trying to get kids recruited in the college, it's tough for us right now because the transfer portal and NIL is messing up recruiting. High school seniors are suffering because they don't have no options. Everybody wants the older players, and they want the transfer portal first. And, the money is out there playing a big part of it. So,
yeah, I agree.
Man, you got to this. This was supposed to be at the 25-minute mark. I was going to ask this question, and you was going to say this. But Jack, as always, asking the right questions. But I'm gonna follow up with this.
Go ahead.
Since you're a coach now, I don't know, you've been around the game a long time as a coach. What's the difference in the recruiting now as opposed to back then? And what I mean by that is, I remember we used to have coaches coming in the door all the time when I was coaching at Don Bosco. And now, I haven't coached in years, so I don't know what that foot traffic's like. Do you still get the same foot traffic from coaches in the area?
The foot traffic is not the same, unless you're one of the top players. The 5 stars are still getting, the foot traffic, and certain schools that, have the notoriety of getting the foot traffic. But, some of the other schools in the area, it's not the same. The college coaches, and I mean, you can't blame them because, coaching is their livelihood. That's how they put food on their table. And so they got to win or they're getting put out the door. So what they're doing is going with the trend. Everybody wants to go into the portal to recruit and get the older players so they can come in right away and play. And they don't want to spend time developing the high school kids like it was done in our time, in the past. So, it's rough, man. I mean, you got your Division II schools like your CIAAs, Bowie State, Virginia State. They're looking for the D1 transfers, the kids that are falling out from D1. So then you got the D3 schools that, first of all, the kids got to have the grades to get into them. Mm-hmm. And then they're also looking for the D2 kids that have fell off or dropped out of D2. So it's trickled down to where, it's hurting the high school game.
Okay. Well, I've heard some word that there's a possibility NIL could trickle down into the high school game. Have you heard anything about that? Or what would you think about that?
I've heard it. We've started to see it in certain states. Some states have approved it already. I don't know how I feel about that, man, because of course it's the same thing we're seeing in college sports right now is going to trickle down to high school. It's going to be the same thing. You're going to have kids transferring schools to wherever they can get paid at. These parents these days, everybody think little Johnny is a superstar. So, they're going to start chasing the money. So it's going to have a very negative effect. I hope that these states start to, get regulations in place early, some kind of structure to it, and don't follow like the NCAA did and just let it get out of hand.
Okay. So, go ahead, Manara.
Oh no, go ahead, Jack, because I think I'm gonna go a little different direction.
And so, I agree with you on the whole college basketball situation. It's not governed properly. They need commissioners in place, general managers, because all this is coming down on the coaches, and it's chasing a lot of the good old school coaches out of the game.
Oh yeah, we've seen that happen. Larry Nova just retired. Coach K, he got out ahead of time. Jimmy Boeheim, all these guys decided that, it was time to go. Jay Wright at Villanova. These guys was like, it's not the same anymore. Leonard Hamilton, he retired after this season. So all these old school good coaches, man, they're going to leave the game because nobody wants to deal with that, Nobody wants to sit in the living room of an 18-year-old kid and listen to a mom or dad say, well, how much you going to give me? Not, what the school, what type of education, not the structure of the program, how's the tutoring set up, how's the education on the road when you're traveling the game. Those questions aren't asked anymore. It's how much you gonna pay me to come here.
Mm-hmm. And the numbers are astronomical. I thought they would be, talking about it 4 or 5 years ago. I thought they'd be a couple 100,000, not 8-9 million.
Yeah. What was the kid that the football player that transferred in the middle or quit in the middle of the season? What was that? Arizona State or one of those schools?
Yeah, we followed that.
Yeah, he got like $10 million to leave. I'm like, what? I don't blame him. I would have took the money too, but it's like, what in the world have we come to?
So I want to ask you. I don't know how familiar you are, but I know in Northern Virginia we had a situation where one of the schools had a bunch of kids transfer in. Yes.
Yep.
What were your thoughts on that situation? Because I know we covered it. Like that's kind of what it looks like you're alluding to is possibly happening where kids are getting together and just going to a program and following the coach. Have you guys seen that on your side of Maryland?
Well, for years, I mean, families and players, they follow coaches. Even when I was coaching youth football, when I was coaching at the Boys and Girls Club and I decided to go to the West Law Stallions, which was a group in Law that was just starting up, the parents that I had with me at the Law Boys and Girls Club, they wanted to follow me because they liked my coaching style. Um, so same thing in that situation with Overton. I don't know him personally. So I'm not going to sit there and say he was cheating or doing anything wrong because I wasn't part of the situation, so I don't know. Um, but I do know that some people they're going to follow coaches, and coaches are going to do what they can to keep their players with them also. So we'd be naive to sit here and say that there ain't coaches out here to cheat, in schools that are known for cheating. I
Right.
ain't gonna name no names, but there's a few out there,
Right.
and it just happens, man. Some people are in here to win at all costs. The development of kids and players is a lost form now. So I coach at a school in Law
Now,
where
Coach, I'm gonna rewind you back.
Okay.
No, I'm gonna rewind you back because you said something, and Jack got a little happy when you said you were a Blue Devils fan. So what I want to know is like, what led to you making that terrible mistake in life of picking the Blue Devils over the Tar Heels?
Well, I don't think it's a terrible mistake. I think it's an awesome mistake. It's a great,
Ain't
great
no mistake at
accomplishment in
all.
life.
It ain't
Yeah,
no
ain't no
mistake at all,
You're
bro.
right. You're right. So I
Like,
grew
I
up
thought he was
in
gonna say Terps.
oh no, can't stand them.
Cool.
I grew up in South Law,
Mm-hmm.
and where I lived at was not too far from Bowie, and we had a 7-Eleven at the top of the hill where I lived at. And Danny Ferry and his dad, they lived in Bowie, so they used to come to that 7-Eleven all the time. So I would, see him and talk to him and things like that. Met him as a young kid.
Yeah, you was a
And
youngster, man.
yeah, and
Danny's older than me.
and blue was my favorite color. So I was, my dad was a Georgetown. Well, he still is. Well, from that much now, but my dad is a Georgetown fan. So I grew up watching a lot of Georgetown basketball. But when I saw them blue uniforms, I was sold. I was 5 years old, and I was like, oh yeah, that's my squad there. So I've been rocking with them ever since.
5. Wow, you got me beat. I was probably about 7. My intramural team was called the Blue Devils.
Gotcha.
And Midnight Riders heard this story a million times, but you gonna hear it one more time. And I come in the house one Saturday afternoon and I see my dad's got the Maryland Duke game. I said, "Oh, Dad, who's that Blue Devil? Who's that?" He's like, "That's Duke. We don't like them." And I liked them ever since. And
Right.
I've been to Lefty Driesell basketball camp 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
I lived a stone's throw from College Park. And I got no ill will towards Maryland. I followed them. I went to their games, but I'm a Duke fan.
Yeah, I mean, when I was in high school, my one of my older cousins, she had graduated from high school and she went to Maryland. So I was always on the campus during that time when Joe Smith was there.
Mm-hmm.
I was at parties on campus and everything with the Maryland basketball players. A good friend of mine who played basketball with my brother, Sterling Ledbetter. He he went to Law and he played for Maryland. So I spent a lot of time up there. Was at damn near every Duke Maryland game. Um, that I could go to. So I spent a lot of time up there. I just couldn't stand him. Couldn't stand Gary Williams. And I just never liked him.
All right. Now you brought up another thing that intrigues the both of us. Because I know for me and I know for Jack, like our dads were big on forming our sportshood and things of that nature. Talk about your dad's influence on you, whether it's just being an athlete or you as just a fan.
So, me and my dad, when I was younger, our relationship was based around sports.
Mm-hmm.
My father was quiet. Sports was our thing. And he was in the horse racing, so we spent a lot of time at the racetrack. when I was younger, when sports was our thing. So, like I said, I watched a lot of Georgetown games, but I didn't like Georgetown. Um, I don't know what it was about them. And then other than that, you know, everything else was from my father. The Orioles, the Redskins, the Wizards, or the Bullets back then. Um, so he had a big influence on that. I just don't know why I didn't take to the Georgetown thing too much.
Okay. Minute Ryder, let me do a couple comments here. Of course, we got Sam R, first guy to check in. Sam couldn't hang today, but said he will check out the replay. Thanks for checking in, Sam. And then we got Matty Ice checking in, and Matty Ice is the host of one of our shows on Mondays, The Drive. Matty Ice wants to know what's the most underappreciated role on the field to you as a coach.
That's a great question.
It is an awesome question.
Appreciated role on the field to you as a coach. I would say, football wise, most unappreciated role.
While you think about that, Coach, I'm gonna answer from my end for what I felt.
Okay, go ahead.
And that way you got a couple minutes to think about it. For me, I always felt that our time was never appreciated because they don't know how much time you put into coaching, the time you taking to take somebody's kid home, the time you getting everything set up. It doesn't get seen. You know what I'm saying? And then I had young kids when we did track, and I had some older kids, and it seemed like we were just the babysitter.
Yeah.
For me, I think that's for me was the one. It's time.
Well, that's where I was going to go to. Coaches is the most thankless job out there. Like you said, we spend a lot of time with people's kids and never get a simple thank you from parents. Some parents we never even see. They never come to the games. They don't come to practice. They don't help out with anything, and that's crazy. I talk to my wife about this all the time. When I was coaching youth football, man, I used to work till 5 o'clock, leave work, and I had kids of my own, but leave work, go pick up other people's kids for practice, go from practice from 6 to 8, wait for some parents to come pick their kids up, then have to still drop some kids off at home. And I get home, and the parents sitting there on the couch in a robe, and ate their dinner and everything, and it's 9:30, 10 o'clock, and I haven't touched the meal yet or even seen my own family. So, it's just it's a thankless job.
I agree with both of you guys about the time thing, because here I am. I'm a baseball coach, and so 6 o'clock practice. I'm out there 5 o'clock, 5:15, putting the bases in the ground, getting everything set up for the drills I want to run, and say about 10 of my ball players should be rolling into practice, but no, they did 6:05, 6:10. You got to get the kids there time to warm up, be ready for practice. It starts at 6 is the way I try to tell the folks. And then other than time, the most underappreciated role as me on a baseball coach is my dugout mom. I feel they're underappreciated by the other parents and the kids. They're there, put Band-Aids on kids, make sure the juice is there, make sure the dugout's cleaned up, all stuff that can take off of my plate so I can finish the game or the practice. So, yeah, time is number one, though, fellas. I agree.
Yep.
So you said Laurel. Okay, I got a lot of memories in Laurel, and every time I get something from Laurel, I can't not mention Phelps Gym. That was one of my favorite spots to play.
Oh yeah, the Phelps Center. Yeah, the Boys and Girls Club.
Big old steps going up it.
Yeah.
Snack bar underneath the basket, I believe.
I coached for years there. I was the athletic director there at the Boys and Girls Club at one point. So spent a lot of time, ran a lot of tournaments out of there. That place has a big part of my life and my background. That's where I fell in love with a lot of different sports. Because
you're a true story of the guy that was given all the opportunities in sports, and now you're paying it back. You're giving it back, and I like seeing that in guys. I tried to do that in my hometown, but it just didn't work out at that time. Program just wasn't in a good spot. But once I set down roots and raised a family, I did. I've been in this club over here now 13 years. it's going to be my first year out of baseball, so I'm waiting on all the shakes and stuff to start happening. My withdrawal.
Yeah.
But I got a new passion. This podcast thing is kind of taking over my time, and I'm enjoying this ride. It's kind of like the next chapter. So, Midnight Rider, who's about to ask him something?
Yeah. We always, when we get coaches, we always like to talk about the coaches that impacted them or was an influence on them. Do you have a coach or a couple coaches? It doesn't matter how many that you want to just kind of shout out because of the influence they had on you, and developing you.
Man, you know what? I was blessed to throughout my youth career and high school career, man, to be around some great guys, some great coaches. I don't think there was one sport that I played where I could say I had a terrible coach. Um, my first few years of playing youth football, Barry Hayden Sr. Was a great influence. He got me started. He's one of those guys that used to come pick you up for practice, bring you back home, make sure you eat. All of those good things. Christopher Jones was another youth coach that I had who was, we won championships together. Just a great influence. Still talk to him every once in a while. Chuck Heikes was my high school coach at Laurel. Great guy. Love him to death. We still communicate on the regular. He's in Pennsylvania now. He'll come down and watch games. Before like I said, I coach basketball. Before the state championship game last weekend, he reached out to me on Facebook and told me, go finish the job. So those guys have been big influences in my life, and also Coach K, the greatest coach of all time. What can I say? The ring speak for itself.
I got you. Just a quick follow up on that. Do you have? Because I know we've had them, but is there a kid that's kind of like just stuck to you, and you kind of have that relationship now where you're paying it forward? You're the guy that reaching out to the kid, seeing how he's doing, and the whole nine.
Oh man, I've through the years I've had some great kids, man, and a lot of them have started coaching, got into coaching now, from, falling in love with the sport from when I was coaching them. I even have some on my staff at Law High School now that, they graduated college or, in the working class now. And so they wanted to come back and give back and start coaching and get into that role. So it's too many to name. I mean, I got a lot of kids that, that's the best part of it, man. I love the kids. I love being an influence on them, trying to steer them away from making the mistakes that I made, growing up. And, trying to let them know that, use this game, man. Use the game for a purpose, to get that education. Sports builds character. It's one of the greatest activities in life, man, is playing sports. So when you're in the right situations and around the right people. So too many kids to name in that aspect.
No, that's fine. That's perfect. I'd rather you say that because that tells me more, and from just the impression I get about you, man. You remind me of a guy I used to coach with, Mark Wilson, who we had on the show before. He's at Surrattsville now, but like it sounds natural.
That's funny, man. I just talked to Mark last night. Me and Mark are good buddies, man.
Yeah. So so Mark was on the show about a month ago, and then I used to coach. He coached girls JV basketball at Bishop Ireton, and I spent a season with him there, and we've been cool ever since. But yeah, that's a guy that I told him even when we sat down for this, I was just like, dude, whenever you talk, like it was never fake. And that's when I listen to you, it's like you can't fake your love for coaching because the kids see right through that.
And Mark is a great dude, man. I used to run a girls AAU program, and Mark was one of my coaches for one of my younger teams. And we have a good friend together, Coach Tony Pollock, that left us and moved down to Florida. But Tony was, that was one of my closest friends, even though he's older than me. We coached a lot of years together. Good guy, love him to death. But did Mark tell you that we beat them in the first game of the season this year? He didn't tell you that, did he?
He ain't tell me that. No, we
Oh,
ain't get
okay.
into that.
Okay, yeah. Just when you talk to him again, just let him know. Devonne said we kicked y'all butt first game of the season.
Good
Now,
job.
I'll put that on the post when we repost this.
yeah, just
I'll
let
tag
him
him.
know. Let him know. We beat. Yeah, we played them first game of the season this year. But now Mark's a good buddy, man. He actually called me last night to congratulate me on the state championship. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Well, let's roll right on into that state championship. Laurel High School basketball team faced off with Walt Whitman and came out victorious 68-53 in the what class were you guys? 2?
No, we're 4A.
4A in the
Yeah.
4A Maryland State Championship. So again, congratulations from the Sideline Junkies.
Thank you, appreciate that.
Tell us about the playoffs and leading up to that game.
Oh man, this year has been a whirlwind, man. It's been a great year. We had a great group of kids. Our coaching staff was well connected. And the kids, we had the benefit of having 8 seniors on the team this year. And last year, we ended our season last year with a 1-point loss to Walt Whitman in the state quarterfinals at Walt Whitman. And I can tell you right now, the feeling that those boys had after that game, it fueled our season this year. They didn't want to settle for anything less than the state championship this year. And when they got to Saturday night, well, not Saturday night, after Wednesday, prior to the state championship, when we found out we was playing Whitman, the game was over already. These boys were determined to make sure that we went out there and beat them as good as we could because of that feeling that they had from last season.
Well, one of your ball players, I might not pronounce this right. I'm going to give it my best. Amadou Kalanga.
Amadou Kaloba.
Mm-hmm. 24 points in the big game. And then you had Christian Brown with 15 points, 13 rebounds. That's a monstrous game for a state championship.
Mm-hmm.
Are those two boys upperclassmen?
Yeah, both of those are seniors.
Wow.
Great kids, good students, great grades, and 2 of the hardest working kids you'll find in this area. They put in a lot of work, working on the game. Just great, man. They put in the time and effort this year, and you as coaches, you have a great group of kids when you can look at them and not have to say anything to motivate them. And those 2 are exactly that.
Well, you guys were able to, not really contain Hayden Walsh, but that's a 3-point shooting fool. And you guys had his 3-point shooting off a little bit. Holding him to 17 was a pretty good accomplishment. And I feel that you held that team to a nice low number in 53. So it seems like defense. Is that something you stress?
Yeah, man. We the whole focus after the semifinal game was getting our defense right for them. I can't remember his name, and I don't want to mess his name up. But number 5, the kid that they had, number 5, he was the machine to Whitman's team. He liked to get into the paint, get paint touches, kick it out to the shooter. So we made sure that we put Christian Brown on him to give him fits all day long.
And his name was Christian Coates.
Say that again.
His name was Christian Coates?
No, Christian Coates was our number 5.
Your number 5. Their number 5 was Tim DeRosa.
Yeah, DeRosa. Okay, yeah, DeRosa was their point guard, and he fueled that offense. So we knew if we put Christian Brown on him, who's a bigger defender, longer arms, and it gave him fits all day long. So once we took him out of the game, it was harder for everybody else to get into their motion and their rhythm. Walsh still had 17 points, so he still had a pretty decent game, but he didn't take control like he could have.
Mm-hmm. And you held that young man 2 for 10 shooting that day, 0 for 3 from 3. So your whole offense, their offense was disrupted. Clearly, terrible shooting percentage. Midnight Rider, peep this. Whitman shot 17 out of 60.
Mm.
That is a horrible percentage. And it just goes to show your defense, coach. I was just looking at these stats, and it's just the best percentage they had was from the foul line.
Yeah. I mean, that I told you that was the emphasis. Our head coach, Coach Eric Hines, in his second year at the helm, we knew it from the start. Like we gotta turn up the defense against them. If we slow them down, they don't have an answer for us. So and that's what we
Said you
did.
was
We
up
concentrated on the
26 at
defense.
one point in this game.
Yes, sir. Yep. We
Good
were.
googly. No, this page I just pulled up. It has so many different scenarios for me to tell. The turnover game, you won 6 for you, 12 to them. Points in the paint, Laurel had 44, while Whitman only had 20. Bench points, Whitman outscored you there, but yeah, it was nice. I mean, you outscored them in the second quarter, 26-8. I mean, yeah. Great
That's
job.
when the game.
I'm glad.
That's when the game was won in the second quarter.
That's when the big lead happened? Yeah, no, I'm happy I could pull the box score up for this. Seemed like a nice run y'all had. So, what do you think you got returning for next season? Are y'all ready to climb that ladder again?
It's going to be tough. Can't lie about that. We only got one returning starter, our center, Gilbert Asafo, who's a 6'8" junior, so he'll be back as a senior next year. And then, we got 7 total returners. So, the young guys who didn't get to play as much this year because we were so senior laden, they're going to have to step up. So we got talent. I can't sit here and lie and say that, I'm going to guarantee a state championship, but we got our work cut out for us.
Coach, I'm all about journeys and how we get to a certain place. I think that's always pivotal. I mean, it's kind of like the Nat saying where I think Davey Martinez said it best, that bumpy roads lead to beautiful places. Was there a bumpy road spot for you this season, or maybe even in the off season, that you felt like your kids got dialed in and you kind of fixed whatever was ailing you?
So we had a game during the winter break. We played Bowie High School down in Showplace Arena. And, Bowie is a rival of ours. And we lost that game by 2 points. And that was a game, if anybody was betting high school sports, they probably would have had us favored by 20. And we lost that game by 2 points. We didn't shoot the ball well. We didn't shoot well from the free throw line. And we had a lot of turnovers in that game. And after that game, our players, they had a come to Jesus moment after that one. It was one of those things where the coaches really didn't have to say much. The players, they got into each other about that one because they knew that we didn't play up to our full potential.
God, the beauty of seniors.
Maybe some of them came in and thought that we was going to destroy them anyway, and didn't play all out. But after that game, that was a turning point where the players was like, "We're not going through this again."
Good stuff, man. I know we talked about your varsity schedule, but what were the results for you for JV? And then some of your football stuff. Give us the full recap of your other 2 seasons, Coach.
Okay, well, continue with basketball real quick. JV, we had a mixed season. We had a lot of young kids on the team. And we had some injuries, and then we lost a couple of kids to some grades during the middle of the season. So we had an up and down season. Wasn't a bad season. I think we finished around 500. A lot of kids grew up towards the end of the season. So I'm expecting some big things for them coming next year. Football-wise, football is probably, that's my number one passion. Football season, we struggled this year coming in. And, I told my coaches after the season that, I spent a lot of time at the first year of running the program myself. Spent a lot of time trying to change the culture, trying to change the public eye of the program. And it took away a little bit from my coaching on the football field. So I made it my purpose after the season to dial in and get everything situated for this upcoming season. I went and added some new coaches to the coaching staff. We solidified that, and we hit the ground running. The kids were in the weight room January 1. You know, um, so we're expecting big things this year from our team. It's going to be a complete turnaround from last season, and I'm excited about the football season coming up.
All right. Well, Coach, we are always excited. I hope you will indulge us and let us, talk to you during the season or even in the preseason. We'd love to have you back. We'd love to have you back also just to chop it up with us one day. Just kick it as a fan with us. We probably got like 2 more questions, then we're going to let you go. That way we won't hold you up.
All right, yeah,
But
y'all can
first
invite
and
me back
foremost,
anytime, man.
yeah, man, this is an easy conversation. Only thing missing is the beers, man. I don't know if you drink or not, but if you don't drink, then we get you a little Coca-Cola or something.
Get you a gummy.
Gotcha.
You said a gummy jack.
Hey, Coach, you said something about didn't have that great of a year, but I'm a Bladensburg guy. We didn't have that great of a year. So you annihilate us on the 11th of November, 34-8.
Yeah.
Bladensburg's got a lot of growing to do over there. I mean, they finally got their field and their facility straight. I'm so happy about that for them young men, but they just need more alumni help. It's just they're doing so much for themselves over there. The kids are need to get the alumni back and stop fighting amongst each other and start helping the kids. They went without a program a few years ago. I want to say 2019.
Yeah, it was like 2 years that they didn't have a team. Yep.
Yeah, well, Coach said he didn't feel safe putting them boys out there. He had 7 returning football players trying to make a varsity squad, and that was the guy from DeMatha, Brian and Byron Westbrook. Westbrook was the coach at that time.
Yeah.
I forgot the coach's name now, but he's trying his best over there, and I go out and support.
He stepped down. We call him Twin, but he stepped down.
Okay. I mean, they've had coaches just going through a revolving door, and I just don't feel you're going to get any structure like that. I'm not knocking anybody that is taking the head coaching job over there because I know how demanding it is.
Yeah.
But until they find the right person, I think they're going to continue pogoing up and down.
It's not an easy thing, man. A lot of the northern schools in PG County, we face a difficult road. Your High Points, your Northwesterns, your Parkdale, Laurel, Bladensburg, we don't get the same kind of support that the southern schools get. So, it's a tough road to battle, man. But like you said, I'm a loyal person, so I'm in there for the long haul as long as they have me. And Bladensburg just has to find the right guy. I mean, they haven't announced their coach, but I know who the person is supposed to be the coach. So if he gets it, they make it official. He's a good coach.
Okay.
A good recruiter and knows his thing. So we'll see how that works out.
Well, we mentioned Mark Wilson a minute ago, and there's another good friend of mine that coaches down there at Grand Park, Danny Hayes.
Yeah, good old Danny.
I haven't gotten to the bottom about what's going on down there. I would like to because Danny's got a 27-year career down there with championships and some more, and for all this stuff to be getting dug up, and I don't know. I don't want to get into it on this show because I don't have enough information. But I hope the best for Danny in all ways because I know
Danny's a great coach.
He has the kids' best interest at mind. I know that.
Yep,
so,
yep.
All right, I'm going to end you up with the last question from our guy Matthew Caitlin. Matty Ice is a hockey official, and he likes checking out coaches' opinions on certain things. So right now he's going to ask you, what annoys you more? The absent parent, the parent that thinks they can coach better than you, or the loudmouth parent that yells every play?
Oh man, the parent that thinks they can coach better than you. You know, those guys, man. And ladies, I tell you, never played a sport in their life. You know, don't know if they're watching basketball or football, but they swear
What?
they know how to do your job. They don't come to none of your practices. They don't see little Johnny in practice playing with grass and, you know, not paying attention to none of the drills or instruction. But, you know, they think they know everything. You know, every play that they have in their mind is a perfect play. And whatever you call is the wrong play. So yeah,
Right.
that's the most annoying part right there.
Well, I think the two right here, the parent that thinks he can coach better than you and the loudmouth parent that yells every play, I think that's the same dude.
Yeah, they're the same guy. Yep, the same guy.
But I tell you, the parent that's absent ticks me off a lot too, because they're going to come to you after the game and be like, hey, why ain't my kid getting no playing time?
Yep.
If you want to come to practice, I'll let you have a seat right on the bench and you can see why. But
Yeah,
they don't,
exactly.
they drop off and run, you know?
Yep, don't come to no games. They don't do anything. They don't support any fundraisers, help out with concession stand, anything. So, but they think they know everything.
And then we got BJ saying, Coach.
Yeah, that's
So
my
in other
boy
words,
there. You know, me and BJ used to bowl together years ago.
BJ's our guy, man. He keeps us straight. Midnight Rider, you got anything else?
Nah, I'm ending with that, man, because that's a great question to go out on.
Yeah.
I think I haven't been a parent, but I've been a uncle that probably thinks I know more than a coach. I wasn't the loudmouth though, but yeah, I mean it's funny when you get into that aspect of it because, like you said, they get the option of having hindsight. You know, they can see the play doesn't work, and then be like, "Oh, you shouldn't have called that play." Well, if you saw what we did to lead up to this, the play was the right play. It just didn't get executed. And I think that's the one thing that people don't think about is the execution and what's supposed to be done because they don't know any better.
Yep.
Right.
They don't. They think they know, but they don't.
Right.
Well, all right, Coach. Well, congratulations again on that state championship, and I hope you have a great time hanging that banner in the fall.
Yeah, we're gonna do it big, man. Our AD Donald Cleveland, man, you know he's excited about the whole thing. You know we just had a state wrestling champion too. Young lady Alexandra Ford, she won back-to-back state championships in wrestling at 140. So we're riding high right now as a school, and you know we're gonna keep celebrating as long as we can.
You say she's back-to-back champion?
Yeah, she won state championships 2 years in a row. Yep.
What do you think the chances of getting her in the passenger seat?
Oh yeah, we can make that happen.
I'd like that. You like that, Midnight Rider?
Man, we good to go. We in good hands with Coach.
Hey, Coach, can you pass her info or get her in contact with BJ?
Yep, I sure can. Yep, I'll text BJ her information. You know, the wrestling coach is one of my assistant football coaches, so we tied in, locked in together. So yep.
Yeah, no, we like getting the kids on too. You know, the coaches, the kids, the referees, the umpires. We like to mix it up. And
no problem.
We actually have a young man coming on next Wednesday, 17-year-old hockey goalie. Been playing goalie since he was 6. So that's going to be next Wednesday on In the Passenger Seat.
And then don't forget, we got an alum, Matthew Chapin, who's a bike, street bike rider?
Yeah, street bike racer. Moto America, 17 years old, racing men. Dude's bad.
Wow.
And we caught him right before he ended up going to Spain. So yeah, we
represent the United States. Yeah.
This show is all about just having like Jack says, and I always plug his line because I love the way he says it. Is we take you through the sports world, one person, one conversation at a time. And it doesn't matter who you are, because we want to know, because sports affects everybody. Like this NCAA tournament gets affected because we love the fact that you can make your own bracket and feel like an expert for 20 minutes until after the first game.
I know I'm an expert. I know I'm an expert. Shoot.
But again, thank you, Coach.
Yeah.
We'd love to have you back. We're going to reach
Man,
back out to you
anytime.
through BJ to get some things done.
Yeah,
Jack, go ahead and do your
anytime.
thing.
I love talking sports, man. I can talk it all day long. So
All right, we good. Then we might have to get you on a Sunday. See what's up, man. We'll work that out, man. I'll go through your agent, BJ. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Talk to the agent. Yeah.
Yeah. But with that being said, Coach, I'm gonna log you out, and then we're gonna just finish up real quick. Cause we want to get a couple things that's happening in the world. But we appreciate your time, man. And the fact that this was last minute because BJ called me or texted me at work, and I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Sure, why not? I mean, I can't.
Yeah.
But no, we appreciate it, man.
That's, as I said last night, being the journalistic guys we are, that's
what we do. Gotcha.
All right, Coach. Thank you, and we appreciate you, man.
I appreciate y'all, and go Duke.
All right, baby, go Duke. Yes, sir.
Get out of here, Jack.
I'm happy. We made up an in the pasture seat. I'm trying to figure out how to put it on here. That was good, man.
Oh, fun times, man.
You know, we run into a bump and then we just turned it into something else. Turn it into macaroni salad.
And here we go. Breaking news. Ovi scored 888 tonight, 7 away from breaking
away.
Now, Maddie, are we still have enough time? Because if so, I'm going to kick myself. Because tonight, the one bet that I wanted to put in and I forgot about was Ovi scoring 2 goals tonight. I think Ovi's going to go on a run of at least a goal a night for the next couple of days. Because I think he's
a hat trick in there.
Yeah, hat trick, a 2-goaler, yeah.
2-piece. 888 looks good, though.
Yes, it does, because it's Ovi.
Yeah, right.
I
like that.
All right. I know I sent you some stuff earlier.
Yes.
Let's start here.
What's up?
I'm creating banners as we go, so let's have some fun. First banner up. Your Boston Celtics sold today. And it's a weird deal because I think whoever the managing person is in place until 2028. And then he actually lets the other people manage the process. And it makes sense because I guess he gets to show them the ropes and do everything. This is kind of what Mark Cuban did.
Correct.
He sold the Mavericks. You know, he kind of gave the incoming party the kind of the landscape. Now, unfortunately, Dallas has fallen on some hard times. Traded away Luka, so it's a little bit different.
Well, you got to figure them owners, they got some investments and stuff that, they still got to profit from and things in the works. So a lot of these sales don't go in effect immediately. In other words, having irons in the fire,
Exactly.
I don't know. I haven't read up much about it. It's just the Celtics, man. Things go the way they go.
No, I mean, I think the Celtics, I think early in the year they had the conversation they were going to sell. And then I think the parameters came in place. And I think this guy is supposed to be a super Celtic fan. So that can be a little worrisome if he's going to be too hands-on.
But Snyder.
I wasn't going to say that.
When anybody buys their favorite team, it reminds me of Snyder.
He was
36 years old. Bought his favorite team,
But people question his fandom. Like in the hindsight, they questioned if he was really truly a fan, or if he wasn't just a rich guy that got lucky
up in the area.
Yeah.
Maybe.
All right. So I'm about to lean into your territory and let you kind of take this the rest of the way.
Mm-hmm.
The NCAA tournament so far, where we're into the night games. As I'm looking at it, Kansas is now up on Arkansas, which is a nice comeback because they were down by about 10 earlier on. That was 67-64. Odds don't fail me. Looks like Drake is up 30-23 on Mizzou, at the half. Tennessee. Yeah. Well, I'll let you get to that. Texas A&M 56, Yale 45 with 10 minutes left. So that's kind of where we are right now.
Drake is leading Missouri right now at halftime,
30-23. All right, so let's get to the games that happened earlier.
Okay.
I know you got a chance to watch them. I got a chance to hear a couple of them, but yeah.
I watched the early game, 3/4 of, and then I had dipped for a minute, tried to pay attention on my phone, and then I got back in for the evening games. Creighton Blue Jays held off Louisville. High Point tried to make it a game. They hung with Purdue for a minute. Ended up losing 75-63. They was down 10 at half. So they just bobbled right there between that 10 point. They just couldn't never get inside of it. Who else we got today?
Who was it that somebody got me today?
Clemson got today.
Well, I told you, I said on our pre-show Monday, I said McNeese, and y'all shot me down. But
that's cool.
But it was one of those feelings I had. But yeah.
The number one smoked. Houston won by 38. Auburn won by 20. And like I said, Clemson lost by 2. The problem in that Clemson game, Clemson ain't scoring no points in the first half, dude. It was some of the most pitiful shooting I've seen. Let me see if I can get some stats on what their shooting was.
No, they struggled early on, and that was the key, the kicker to this whole tournament is, and I told y'all before, one of the craziest things that I've seen is how a stadium that's got 4 different teams represented, how the two other teams will jump on the back of the underdog, and it creates a interesting thing. Who was it? Somebody won by 2. Was that Clemson that lost by 2?
Clemson lost by 2. And
yeah.
Here it is. Clemson scored 54 points in the second half. Most college teams score 40, 42 points a half. Clemson scored 54 in the second half and still lost because they only scored 13 points in the first half. 13. So that's what killed Clemson was the slow start. They just couldn't dig out from underneath of that and complete the comeback. I mean, McNeese scored 31 in the first half, scored 38 in the second. Pretty consistent about what ball teams score. 13 in one half. It was the death throb of Clemson today. So let's go to Tennessee one. Kansas defeated Arkansas. I thought Arkansas was going to make a little run. But, I'm sorry. Kansas is up 3 with 3.5 left. So there's still time in that game. I'd like to see Arkansas make a little run.
Well, Arkansas made the run early, and they've kind of fizzled out.
I'm talking about in the tournament.
I know what you're saying, but I'm just saying.
They can go 2 rounds.
Right.
Gonzaga beat Georgia. I didn't think that would happen. And BYU got a hold of VCU. I had picked VCU to go 3 rounds on one of my polls. One of my brackets.
Well, I think didn't VCU struggle scoring early on, and then they just had to climb uphill the rest of the way?
They struggled a little bit. Halftime they were down 11, 39-28. And in the second half, they put up 43 points, but they still managed to lose by 9. They was having trouble shooting.
Okay.
They picked it up later on, ended up 41%, but earlier in the first half, they was 30% shooting. Turning the ball over. And personal fouls, a lot of fouls by VCU. So who's the late game tonight? We got Omaha and St. John's. We got UC San Diego and Michigan, 10 o'clock. We got North Carolina, Wilmington, and Texas Tech at 10 o'clock. I just found out I got Texas Tech in Matty Ice's pool. That's not a bad draw. All 4 of my draws in Maddie's
Oh, you did
pool.
the you did the blind pick thing.
The blind pick. You get paid if you're in the final 4, $20. You get paid $100 if you're the runner-up, and you get paid $200 if your team is the national champion. And I managed to put in $20. I got 4 teams. I got a number 3 seed Texas Tech, a number 9 seed Oklahoma, a number 6 seed Missouri, and a number 3 seed Wisconsin. I smell Final 4 out of that. So I'm getting my money back. I better.
All right, let's run through a couple of these comments. They're just starting the third, is what Maddie said. We got a chance for empty netter or something else, and that's going to really make me mad that I didn't get my bet in.
The Maryland Terrapins.
Not a lot of close games today, said Maddie. I think there were spots where the games were close, but then teams pulled away. I think some of that was shooting based. I think some of that was just whatever. I have a question. Who is McNeese? That's Lance Beers.
McNeese beat Clemson. You down there in Clemson land, Hoss. Google.
No, but McNeese, if memory serves me correct, that's the school that Joe Dumars came out of. And there's a couple other athletes that came out of McNeese State. But the other good thing is, or the other thing about it was, when I saw the matchup, I thought the issue I thought Clemson had was they may not be able to score consistently. Because I thought just in seeing them in spots, I thought they overwhelmed teams, but they struggled in certain situations. And it looked like they just struggled early on to get their footing. And once they got their footing, they stepped on the gas, but they gave themselves too big of a hill to climb out of, or a hole to climb out of.
Well, I mean, Clemson, they playing some of the hottest basketball the last 2.5 weeks, man. That's why I just don't understand what happened.
Yeah, but sometimes you come out cold, because I'm telling you that when that first 10 bet that people make, that's crazy. That's a good bet sometimes, because a team will come out nervous because they haven't been there. They don't know what to expect. You're on the big stage. You're on big time TV. So you kind of struggle. And Lance, Maryland plays tomorrow at 4:30.
And yes, Joe Dumars went to McNeese. No, I don't recognize any of these other people. Bob Howery was a baseball player. BJ Sams, he's a football player. Luke Lawton was a football player. Like he played for the Raiders. I don't know who that. Clay Condre played for the Phillies. I don't know. Looked like Dumars is the most famous one.
Yeah. I was gonna say.
Yep, I don't know the rest of these cats, but yeah, Maryland plays tomorrow 4:35-ish. And Duke plays tomorrow noon, I think. Early. They usually play the primetime game.
Lance, no problem, man. That's what we're here for.
That's my guy.
But you know what? Maryland has an interesting track because they got to stay out west, even though they're in the East bracket. But I think they did this the year before the championship run. I think it was 2000 where they had a West bracket and they had to play out west 2 weeks in a row. And they ended up making it either to the Elite Eight or the Final Four, but they lost in the Final Four.
Well, you know, Maryland through some of the experts is one of the top qualified teams to make it to the Final Four. I want to say they're number 7 in this picture.
I think they have one of the best. I think I saw or heard a stat today that they have one of the best starting fives. And as we speak, Arkansas has just made a run, and now they're up 71-67 with a minute 43 to go. Just a heads up on that.
Yeah, but no, Maryland, the heads up on the Maryland thing. Go ahead, buddy.
No, you're good. You're good. Go ahead.
No, the heads up, the thing on the Maryland thing, yeah, you can't just say they got the best starting five because they play the most minutes.
Nah, people have said their starting five is one of the better collective groups.
It's the highest scoring starting five. I know I heard that.
Yeah, that's what it was. And then the next thing is I heard from one of the guys, Jeff Erman, I think his name was, or something Erman. He was on with JP and them. They've got the guy Geronimo, another guy that's either back or starting to hit some shots. So it may not be just the starting five that's contributing for Maryland as we get into this tournament. They may have some other options off the bench.
Where they been hiding them at?
Every now and then, sometimes it takes a while for a guy to find his role, find comfort in his role.
And they do come out in tournament time sometime. Yeah. I mean, look at Grayson Allen with Duke his freshman year.
Shoot, look at the year in '93 when Donald Williams became all of a sudden a superstar, and he couldn't miss an important shot.
Yep. Nope. March can bring the best out of players, man.
Kemba Walker. Jesus Christ. Kemba Walker carried UConn through the Big East and into the NCAAs to the finals and won it. So
a couple dudes did that at Connecticut. Didn't Hamilton? Didn't Rip do that?
That team was super talented. That team was way more talented than even though they, like I said before, that 98 team should have lost week one, game one, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
So first night, let me ask you this question. I'm gonna ask it a different way. I think I kind of brought this up in our Tuesday conversation. But people talk about these 4 days, the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, first weekend of the tournament, as probably one of the biggest must-see events in college basketball, and actually in sports, period. Do you have a place? Is this like second to the NFL playoffs? Is this one for you? How does this rank for you?
Say again? How's it rank for me? What?
Yeah, so like people talk about these 4 days as like the best 4 days on the sports calendar.
Mm-hmm.
Is it the best or is it like second best? Like where does it fall for you?
It's my Christmas of sports, bro.
Okay.
It's my Super Bowl. I love this better than any other sports event. Super Bowl, World Series, March Madness. You can ask anybody in my family. I go crazy March Madness when the tournament starts, when championship week starts. That's when you start getting up, getting antsy, and then you start seeing who's getting the bids, and then it's just the best, man. It's not just Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It goes all the way back to starting last weekend for me, and it's the best. It's my top of my sports world fandom.
I think because I'm always working, I don't have it at one, but I used to. We used to have a fight. It was me and two other managers when I was at Enterprise. Like we had fights to see who could get the time in to take the days off around the tournament before everybody else did. But if you couldn't get off, the other rule was there's no meetings on NCAA weekend, Thursday, Friday. Like we're not scheduling anything. Like do as little as possible. Yeah, it's funny because as I think about it, I think Super Bowl and I think the NFL playoffs are my 1 seed. I think this is my 2. I think hockey playoffs are 3 and then NBA. Because I love a good game 7 in hockey and I love a good overtime in hockey. And I wasn't like one of my biggest games for Arkansas. For college, not even college basketball. I'm sorry, for hockey, was I never forget. I had like a 13-inch black and white TV in my room, and I watched I think it was the New York Islanders and the Capitals going to 4 overtime. I didn't know exactly what I was watching. I couldn't really see the puck, but I just knew the game was going, and it was crazy, man. And that's one of those memories for me that just stand out as a kid. And like after that, it didn't matter how much I followed hockey season before. I definitely follow it more now after I've gone to a game. But before, man, I would watch Caps playoffs was my thing.
Well, you was talking about a 20-inch TV and
No,
back
13
years,
inch. That
13
was a
inch.
13 inch black and white, bruh.
Back years ago, I used to work in the construction field, going site to site, and I would have a 24-inch TV in my truck hooked up to the cigarette lighter, and a big old cube TV laying on the floorboard, cocked up facing the driver's seat. And I had the aluminum foil and the coat hanger on the antenna pointed at the windshield, did everything. And I would be working, watching every game. I get to a construction site, man. The foreman comes over. Hey, man, you got to get out of here. All my guys want to watch the game. They're all leaning over my truck, watching the games with my truck. I used to put a TV in my truck. I mean, you're talking, this is back in, 95, 2000. And then when they started all this cable stuff, you couldn't do that no more. But by then, I could just go dip into a bar and watch it. But yeah, I used to bring.
Dude, I mean, literally, what was it? If I was in our old building, I would have the games on like a small screen in the corner at my desk. But because I'm at like the main office now, and we got so many corporate types walking through, I don't even want to take the risk because they like to helicopter and like check your screen out. So that's the only reason I didn't go crazy. This Arkansas-Kansas game is getting
I'm
nice.
watching it. Arkansas
75-72 is what I have, and 11.9 left. So we're a little bit after what Maddie was talking about.
I'm at 20 seconds.
Back in the day, Daytona 500 was for me.
Oh yeah, Lance had to call out on Monday. I used to work with Lance.
And then he says Arkansas up 6 with 20 left. I think Kansas just hit a 3, so now we're down to 3 with 11.9. But yeah, man. Been an interesting day, man. Sports all over the place. You got something else you want to hit? Because I've kind of forgot what we had beforehand.
Well, I wanted to go into NBA a little bit, just some stuff I've been watching.
Let's go.
With all the injuries and everything going across some of these teams, the trading going on, some of these teams being left just looking hopeless. It's giving a lot of the younger players time to shine, time to get comfortable in the league, in the rotation. There was a guy on San Antonio the other day, Sandro. Man, how to say his last name, I ain't got no idea. I'm going to give it a shot. Memukalashvili?
Okay, that's not a guy I know.
He played at Seton Hall.
Okay.
And he runs with the Spurs right now. He just set a record for the quickest person to score 34 points. He scored 34 points in 19 minutes of playing time.
God.
13 of 14 from field goals, 7 of 7 from threes, 9 rebounds, 3 steals. The left-handed shooter. His season averages are 5 points, 2 rebounds, a half an assist, and 50% from the field goal. I feel this guy just needs some minutes, man. And if he puts some minutes together, that 5 points could be 20 points a game. He's a scorer. He's always been a scorer. He's been in the league 5 years. I think he got drafted by Milwaukee. And then the Spurs got him. He backed up Collins for the longest time. Zach Collins, is it?
Maybe.
I think that was his name. And he had a back injury in 22 that set him down for a minute. But this guy, man, he can score inside, outside. He's Georgian. I guess that's how you say it, Georgian, from the country of Georgia. Yeah. I tell you, he's a big boy, 6'9", 240. Just like I say, San Antonio, they got a lot of injuries, and they can let their young guys go. And I think this guy's going to be in the plans to be the backup to either the backup or the four-man with Wemby.
Jack, I tell you this all the time, man. I think the NBA is the one league where there are a bunch of guys that collect minutes on the bench, and when they get in the game and they actually show like they could be starters. I remember guys like Tony Delk having like 40 plus nights. What's the guy? Oh man, I can see his face. He was from Florida. He was on the championship teams. He couldn't shoot. Played there with oh my god. He wears number 30. He used to wear number 32. He was another guy that he had like 2 games of 50 points and over a span of like 3 seasons. It's just in the NBA, guys can score and fill the bucket. The problem is they just don't get enough opportunities and enough shots because they got to fit a role. I mean,
right.
Lo and behold, I mean, you think about a guy like Pat Beverly, who's like a defensive ace, but his college days, he averaged 35 points a game.
Mm-hmm. No. Another guy I think of like that is Mikal Bridges over in New York.
Yeah.
I think he could be a one with another team. He could be the guy the offense goes through. Bridges can score in buckets, man. And I meant to find out because Boston's been playing around with a little bit of their bench and doing load management that everybody else in the league is doing. So why not Boston do it? They had Brown, Tatum, and Porzingis out the other day. Mm-hmm. And their number 1 pick, it starts with an S. He ended up putting up 30 points. I wanted to see how many players on Boston's team this year has scored 30 points. I bet you. Huh?
I'm sorry. No, I was gonna say you had Pritchard and what was it, Horford or
Pritchard's done it, Hauser's done it, Horford's done it, Tatum's done it, Brown's done it, Porzingis has done it. I'm telling you, man. And now this youngin, I think he was close to hitting 30. Shinlin? What the hell is his name?
Yeah, but that's the kicker. I'm telling you, the NBA has so much talent sitting on the bench. It's crazy.
Well, this is the time that the bench is getting it either to get ready for playoffs or to get ready for next season. You know, see what you got. And I think that's what Boston is seriously doing is getting their bench ready for the season. Where's that game?
All right, just a quick NCAA update. Looks like Drake is up 43-28 in the second on Mizzou. Yale is down 9 with 3:43 to play to Texas A&M. We got, I'm guessing this is Utah State and UCLA at 9:25. We talked about Purdue and High Point. We talked about Wisconsin and Montana. If we didn't, Wisconsin's 85. Montana was 60 something. So that was a blowout. We got the number 1 seeds that Jack talked about blowing teams out.
Mm-hmm.
Man.
His name Baylor Sherman.
Okay.
The young man they got from Creighton. And he didn't put up 30, he put up 20. But anybody on that squad can do 30 points, man. And like you say, though, a lot of these players, they're either the best team on their college team or they were the best shooter on their high school team. And they all got game. It's like you say, though, they're playing a role for that franchise.
Yep.
So that's this time of year in the NBA, you do get to see a lot of guys having big games that don't get the opportunity. So I enjoy that.
Yeah, and this Arkansas game is pretty much over.
Yeah.
79-72 Arkansas over Kansas. Caps up 3-1, 5:29 left. Could be an opportunity for an empty netter. Maddie, who scored the other 2 goals, if you got it, for the Caps? Because I know Protus has been hot and Stroman's been playing well. Oh, and shout out to our guy Tom Wilson. He got 30 goals on the season. When the Caps signed him into his extension, people didn't understand why you were signing a Mauler to that type of extension. And lo and behold, this guy's become a well-rounded hockey player. Mm-hmm. I think he was one before that, but that's just what people just saw him as a mauler and a brawler.
Yup. The hell was that?
Some dog video that was on my screen as I was trying to scroll through Facebook to get updates, and some weird video was on the joint. I was like, I
thought you stepped on the cat.
Well, that's what it sounded like, exactly.
Well, you ain't over Maddie's house.
Yeah. Or
Maddie's house got cat.
Oh, dang. You weren't around when BJ's cat used to always attack him during the show.
Oh, nah. I just see BJ's make a cameo every time.
Yeah, it's because he was like biting them or scratching them. Yeah, that was
what?
Crazy.
Nah, that'd be crazy. See him brawling with his cat.
We at 121, Jack. Anything else you want to drop or that I missed or?
Nah, I'm sure we missed some. I'm just I don't have much here with me. We'll really have a nice wrap up come Sunday on the Sunday Rise, 11 a.m. Check us out.
What else we got? You got the WrestleManiacs Saturday night at 9.
We got the greatest fictitious college football show in the world, Craig.
In the world, Craig.
Coming on.
So we should be wrapping up on that episode. We should be wrapping up season 7. I know we're in the conference championship games now, but I think we should be at the college playoffs and even finishing up the college playoffs.
Peep that.
A huggy.
A hug. Cream Office found it under the table.
No,
it's a green. Nobody likes green, man. You gotta get the grape.
What else we got, Jack? Oh, then we come back to you Tuesday, and then Wednesday we got the goalie for hockey team.
We're gonna have Carson Ramsey from Ashburn, Virginia, come on and tell us about his hockey ride. 17-year-old hockey goalie, been playing since he was like 6. So that's going to be a great show with Carson Ramsey.
And before we get out of here, of course, if you guys missed it earlier, we had a great in the passenger seat moment with Coach Devonne. I apologize if I said that wrong.
I know. Devonne.
From Laurel, defending, well, that's now the reigning state champs. Just a great conversation overall about coaching and how he got into it. Please check it out. It's a good way for us to start the next part of season 1, the second half of it, if you want to call it that. And we're probably gonna get some new people coming in. So stick with us in the passenger seat on Wednesdays. Stick with us or the Thursday night throwdown. Anything you have that you want to drop, Jack, before we get out of here?
Nah, I'm straight.
All right. Well, I'm gonna steal this close from Matty Ice. Matty Ice likes to end his show with saying, tomorrow's not promised. Hug and kiss your loved ones. Tell them you love them. So for me, just as a big shout out to the Drive Time guy, I'm going to close this out with that tonight. We're at 124. So I guess we don't do no overtime is the way we can end this. That's the Gentleman Jack. I'm the Midnight Rider. Thank you for spending your Thursday night throwdown with us. We'd love to see you again, whether it's Saturday morning, Saturday night, or Tuesday. Peace and have a great evening.